The first rays of sunlight peeked through the curtains, casting a soft golden glow across the cozy living room. It was Christmas morning, and the house was unusually quiet. Upstairs, little Emily stirred in her bed. Rubbing her sleepy eyes, she suddenly remembered what day it was. "Christmas," she whispered excitedly, jumping out of bed. She ran to her brother Lucas's room, her tiny feet pattering on the wooden floor. "Lucas, wake up, it's Christmas." Lucas groaned, rolling over, but the magic of the morning pulled him out of his slumber. All right, let's go," he said, grinning. Together they tiptoed down the stairs, careful not to wake their parents. When they reached the living room, their mouths dropped open in astonishment. In the corner stood a beautiful Christmas tree, its branches adorned with twinkling lights, shiny ornaments, and a glittering star at the top. Beneath the tree was a pile of brightly wrapped gifts in red, green, and gold. "Santa was here," Emily squealed, clapping her hands. The commotion woke their parents, who came downstairs in their pajamas. "Merry Christmas," said Dad with a big yawn, wrapping his robe around himself. Mom smiled warmly, her hair still messy from sleep. "Can we open the presents now?" Lucas asked eagerly, bouncing on his toes. "Go ahead," Mom laughed. "But be gentle with the wrapping paper." Emily dived into her first present, tearing off the paper to reveal a fluffy teddy bear with a red bow around its neck. "It's perfect," she exclaimed, hugging it tightly. Lucas unwrapped his gift more carefully and found a shiny red remote-controlled car. "This is awesome," he shouted, already imagining it zooming across the floor. As the kids explored their new toys, Dad headed to the kitchen. Soon the smell of fresh toast and sizzling bacon filled the air. Mom brewed a pot of hot chocolate, adding tiny marshmallows on top. "Breakfast is ready," Dad called, placing plates on the table. The family gathered around, their faces glowing with happiness. "This is the best Christmas ever," Emily said between bites of toast, her new teddy bear sitting on her lap. Lucas nodded, sipping his hot chocolate. "Thanks, Santa." The family laughed, their hearts full of joy. The day had just begun, but it already felt magical. After their delightful breakfast, the family decided to visit the Christmas market in the town square. The chilly morning air nipped at their noses as they bundled up in scarves, hats, and warm coats. Emily held tightly onto her new teddy bear, refusing to leave it behind. "Are we ready?" Dad asked, jingling the car keys. "Yes!" Lucas and Emily shouted in unison, their excitement bubbling over. The drive to the market was short but scenic, with snow-covered trees lining the road. When they arrived, the square was bustling with life. Twinkling fairy lights were strung across the stalls, and the aroma of cinnamon, roasted chestnuts, and sweet chocolate filled the air. "Wow, look at all the lights!" Emily gasped, her eyes wide with wonder. The family began exploring the market. They stopped at a stall selling hot chocolate, where the vendor greeted them with a cheerful, "Merry Christmas." Lucas and Emily each got a steaming cup, topped with whipped cream and sprinkled with cocoa powder. "This is delicious," Lucas said, taking a big sip. Nearby, a large gingerbread house caught Emily's attention. The roof was dusted with powdered sugar, and colorful candies decorated the walls. "Can we get some gingerbread cookies?" she asked. "Of course," Mom said, buying a small bag of cookies shaped like stars and Christmas trees. As they walked further, they came across a stall displaying handmade ornaments. Tiny snowmen, angels, and reindeer dangled from strings, each one crafted with care. "I want this one," Emily exclaimed, pointing to a little snowman with a blue scarf. "It's adorable," Mom agreed, handing over the money. Emily carefully placed her new snowman ornament into a small paper bag. Lucas, meanwhile, was drawn to a game booth where players could win prizes by knocking down bottles with a soft ball. "Can I try?" he asked Dad, who nodded and gave him some coins. Lucas aimed carefully, his tongue sticking out in concentration, and threw the ball. The bottles tumbled down with a loud crash. "I did it!" he shouted triumphantly. The booth attendant handed him a prize, a small, plush reindeer. "This is so cool," Lucas said, holding it up for everyone to see. The family continued strolling through the market, admiring the handmade crafts, jewelry, and colorful scarves on display. Musicians played cheerful holiday tunes, and a group of carolers sang jingle bells, adding to the festive atmosphere. "This market is magical," Mom said, holding Dad's arm as they walked. "It really is," Dad agreed, smiling at the children's joy. As the sun rose higher in the sky, the family decided it was time to head home. Their bags were full of goodies, and their hearts were full of Christmas cheer. "This was the best market ever," Emily said as they climbed into the car. "And the day's not over yet," Dad replied with a wink. The family drove back home, the sound of Christmas carols playing softly on the radio, ready for the next adventure of the day. After lunch, Dad suggested, "How about a walk in the forest? The snow must be beautiful today." "That sounds amazing," Mom agreed, and the kids nodded eagerly. Emily grabbed her new teddy bear, and Lucas brought his plush reindeer. Bundled up in their warmest coats, gloves, and boots, they set off in the car toward the nearby forest. The drive was peaceful, with white snow blanketing the fields and sparkling in the sunlight. When they arrived, the family stepped out into a winter wonderland. Tall pine trees lined the forest path, their branches heavy with snow. The air was crisp and fresh, and the only sounds were the crunch of snow beneath their boots and the occasional chirp of a bird. "Look at how tall those trees are," Lucas said, tilting his head back to see the tops of the pines. Emily twirled in the snow, laughing. "It's so soft and fluffy," she said, scooping up a handful and throwing it into the air like confetti. As they walked along the path, they came across an open clearing. "This is the perfect spot for a snowman," Dad said, kneeling down to start rolling a big ball of snow. Emily and Lucas joined in, helping to shape the snowman's body. Mom found some sticks for arms and a few small rocks for the eyes and buttons. Lucas donated his plush reindeer's red ribbon to serve as the snowman's scarf. "Ta-da, our snowman is complete," Emily announced proudly. The family laughed and took turns posing for photos with their frosty creation. "Let's go see the lake," Mom suggested. They followed the path until they reached a frozen lake, its surface glistening like a giant mirror. The family paused to admire the view, taking more pictures together. Suddenly, Emily gasped, "Look! Over there!" She pointed to a small mound of snow near the edge of the lake. Something brown was sticking out of it. They hurried over and found a tiny rabbit trapped in the snow, its fur dusted with frost. "It's so cold," Emily said, her voice full of concern. "We need to help it," Dad said, kneeling down carefully. Using his gloves, he gently scooped the snow away from the rabbit. Mom took off her scarf and wrapped it around the shivering animal. "It must have gotten stuck here during the snowfall," Mom said. "We should bring it to the forest ranger's cabin. It's not far from here." The family moved quickly but gently. Lucas carried the rabbit bundled in Mom's scarf while Emily walked closely beside him. When they reached the ranger's cabin, they knocked on the door. The ranger, a kind-looking man with a thick mustache, opened it. "Oh dear, poor little thing," he said, taking the rabbit inside. He placed it in a small box lined with straw and gave it some water and food. "Will it be okay?" Emily asked, her eyes wide with worry. "It'll be fine now thanks to you," the ranger assured her. "You've saved its life." The family stayed for a few minutes, watching as the rabbit started to perk up. "Goodbye, little bunny," Emily whispered as they left. On the way back to their car, Lucas said, "That was the best walk ever. We made a snowman and saved a rabbit." "It feels good to help," Mom said, smiling at them. The forest seemed even more magical as the family walked back through it, their hearts warm despite the cold winter air. As the family returned home from their snowy adventure, the sky was already turning shades of pink and orange. The warmth of the house welcomed them as they took off their coats and boots. "Who's hungry?" Dad asked, rubbing his hands together. "Me," Emily and Lucas chorused, their voices echoing through the living room. "All right, let's get started on dinner," Mom said, tying an apron around her waist. She and Dad headed to the kitchen while the kids stayed in the living room, playing with their new toys and looking through the photos they had taken that day. The delicious smell of roasting turkey soon filled the house. Mom basted the golden brown bird while Dad mashed the potatoes, adding a touch of butter and cream to make them extra smooth. On the stove, gravy simmered in a small pot, and freshly steamed green beans waited to be served. "Emily, can you help set the table?" Mom called. "Coming," Emily answered, skipping into the dining room. She carefully placed plates, forks, knives, and spoons at each spot, while Lucas brought the glasses. When everything was ready, Dad carried the turkey to the table, placing it in the center like a proud centerpiece. "Wow, that looks amazing," Lucas said, his mouth watering. "Dinner is served," Mom announced with a smile, and the family took their seats. The table was a feast of colors and smells: golden turkey, creamy mashed potatoes, bright green beans, and a basket of warm rolls. For dessert, a rich Christmas pudding sat waiting on a small plate, its top glistening with a sweet glaze. "Let's say what we're thankful for before we eat," Mom suggested. "I'm thankful for our snowy walk and saving the rabbit," Emily said, her eyes shining. "I'm thankful for this amazing dinner," Lucas added, eyeing the turkey. "And I'm thankful for our family," Dad said, looking at each of them with a smile. The family raised their glasses of sparkling apple juice. "Cheers," they said together, clinking their glasses before digging in. The room filled with the happy sounds of laughter and conversation as they enjoyed the meal. Lucas helped himself to a second serving of mashed potatoes, and Emily couldn't stop eating the buttery rolls. As dinner wound down, Lucas grinned mischievously. "I have a joke." "Let's hear it," Dad said, leaning back in his chair. "Why does Santa go down the chimney on Christmas Eve?" Lucas asked, pausing for effect. "Why?" Emily asked eagerly. "Because it suits him," Lucas said, laughing at his own joke. The family burst into laughter, even Mom, who shook her head while smiling. "That's so silly," she said, wiping away a tear of laughter. After dessert, they lingered around the table, talking about their favorite parts of the day. "This has been such a wonderful Christmas," Mom said. "It really has," Dad agreed. "And we still have one more surprise tonight." "What is it?" Emily asked, her eyes wide with curiosity. "You'll see," Dad said mysteriously as the family cleared the table, ready for the next part of their magical Christmas day. After dinner, the family cleared the table together. Mom washed the dishes while Dad dried them, and the kids put away the leftovers. Once the kitchen was clean, Dad clapped his hands. "All right, it's time for our special Christmas tradition," he said with a smile. Lucas and Emily exchanged excited looks. "Story time," Emily said, bouncing on her toes. The family moved to the living room, where the soft glow of the fireplace lit up the cozy space. Mom turned off the overhead lights, leaving the room bathed in a warm, golden glow. Dad placed a few candles on the coffee table and lit them, their flickering flames adding to the peaceful atmosphere. Everyone gathered around the fireplace. Emily snuggled up next to Dad, clutching her teddy bear, while Lucas stretched out on the rug with his plush reindeer. Mom sat in her favorite armchair, wrapping a blanket around herself. "Before the story, let's sing a Christmas song," Mom suggested. "How about Silent Night?" Lucas said. "That's perfect," Dad agreed. The family's voices blended together as they sang softly. "Silent night, holy night, all is calm, all is bright." The gentle melody filled the room, wrapping them in a bubble of holiday magic. When the song ended, Dad picked up an old, well-loved book from the coffee table. "Tonight I'm going to tell you the story of the Christmas star," he said. "What's that?" Emily asked, her eyes wide. "It's a story about hope and kindness," Dad replied, his voice calm and steady. He opened the book and began to read. "A long time ago, on a snowy Christmas Eve, a little star shone brighter than all the others. It wanted to guide people to a place where they could find warmth and love. As the star glowed, travelers followed its light, helping each other along the way." As Dad's deep, soothing voice carried the story forward, Lucas listened intently, imagining the glowing star in the night sky. Emily's eyelids grew heavy, and she leaned against Dad's arm, her teddy bear slipping from her hands. By the time the story ended, Emily was fast asleep, her little chest rising and falling peacefully. Dad smiled and kissed the top of her head. She had a big day, he whispered. Mom helped Dad carry Emily to her bed, tucking her in with her new teddy bear. Lucas followed, yawning as he climbed into his own bed. "Good night, Lucas," Mom said, giving him a gentle hug. "Good night, Mom. Thanks for the best Christmas ever," he replied, his voice soft with sleepiness. Back in the living room, Mom and Dad sat by the fire for a moment, enjoying the quiet. The candles flickered, casting soft shadows on the walls. "This really was a perfect Christmas," Mom said, leaning her head on Dad's shoulder. "It truly was," Dad agreed, smiling as he watched the fire crackle. The house settled into peaceful silence, the warmth of the day lingering like a comforting hug.